and welcome to this week's episode of Dadas Show, coming to you from the newly refurbished Manzoni 680 Hotel at Nairobi's CBD. As usual, I'm your host, Ashiko Mbune. Now, as our name suggests, the Dada Show aspires to promote the spirit of sisterhood and solidarity. And we do this by creating an open and a safe platform for women to discuss issues pertaining to their health and lifestyle, their families, their careers, and anything that affects them in one way or another. We also take a moment to acknowledge and celebrate organizations that support and empower women. On this episode of Dada's Show, I am joined by members of SAID organization. This organization focuses on empowering vulnerable groups, addressing social injustices, and supporting GBV survivors. Now, in the war against gender-based violence, all hands are on deck. And this organization offers very, very crucial support, especially to grassroots communities, to enable GBV survivors to live a dignified and an empowered life. So join us today as we celebrate and acknowledge Groots Kenya for the effort and the work that they do in the fight against gender-based violence. As always, remember to join us across all social media platforms at Ashiko the host. You can also reach us on our newly launched Facebook page at Dadas KBC Channel 1. Let us hear from you. What is your opinion on this and any other story we might have had? And we always look forward to the questions and queries that you have for us. We thank you so much for joining us on this episode. But before we jump into this conversation, let's take a look at the following feature.
Cases of gender-based violence have gone up in 2025 compared to the previous year. In a recent public forum led by Technical Working Group on GBV, shared that 97 cases of femicide have been reported from January to March 2025, indicating a rise in GBV cases. The numbers have gone up from 152 in 2023 to 172 in 2024, the highest in 5 years.
Domestic violence, or what used to be known as domestic violence, is commonly and currently referred to as gender-based violence. This refers to those acts or types of behaviors that more or less perpetuate violence or abuse, especially targeting an individual of the opposite gender. There are several types or forms of gender-based violence. We have what we refer to as the physical abuse or physical gender-based violence. Things like hitting, shoving, slapping, those ones are referred to as physical forms of GBV. We also have sexual gender-based violence, things like rape, sexual molestation, small acts that sort of create fear or threats using sexual whatever undertones, especially targeting the opposite gender. And then we have emotional abuse. This refers to things like threats, insults, coercions, things that cause that psychological strain.
More young people are now finding themselves in abusive relationships.
We are making a very, very interesting observation in the sense that even now young people in their teens, they're becoming more violent towards their peers of the opposite gender, something that was a bit unheard of, let's say 10, 20 years ago. It was unheard of a teen, a 19-year-old, to sort of engage in those kind of levels of abuse and even killing and such like whatever stuff. As it's a growing whatever problem. And there are two sides of it. One, among the professional, let's say well-educated women, it was there. But then again, it was more or less like treated with a lot of silence. It was never addressed.
There are common signs of an abusive partner. You do not need to experience all of them to indicate violence.
One of the things that you need to look at is, do they really care or even ask for your opinion when it comes to matters related to your interaction, or they simply tell you, they command you, they ask you, let's meet at 6, come over at 6 p.m. Yet you are a professional person, you have a job, you have work and all those kind of things. Do they give you sort of room to negotiate and agree and have a mutual kind of decision? If they don't, then it's a red flag. When you disagree with them on a particular whatever issue, how do they react? Do they get angry and quickly turn into an emotional kind of whatever engagement with insults, with demeaning whatever statements, things like, you women, you are always, you see, like, they're already trying to tell you, you have a different position and status in comparison to, in as much as it is clear that maybe they're being unreasonable, but they try to sort of push you down and make it like a gender issue, not necessarily human beings interacting and talking about something. There's also, for example, like you'll always be able to pick those signs if you see how they talk about other women. They may not say those nasty things or words against you, but let's say, for example, you're watching a program on television or even the news, and then they'll make a statement about other women that is a bit demeaning. That way you'll be able to see, hey, maybe they want to control, they want to dominate, they want to be the persons deciding or influencing the whole whatever relationship.
The fight against GBV in Kenya continues. For Dada's show, my name is Miriam Odanga.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, our conversation today is on the support offered for gender-based violence survivors. Remember, the ongoing war against GBV involves every single one of us. So, of course, we always appreciate when we have organizations that are stepping in the gap. So my wonderful panel today consists of, right next to me, I have Madam Pacifica Lucy Ongechi, who is a GBV responder and a shelter manager. Karibu sana, Madam Pacifica.
Thank you.
And right next to her, we've got Helen Wamboi Wanyeki, who is a GBV champion. Karibu sana, Helen. And finally, we've got Roslyn Mwehaki Kibunja, who is a GBV survivor. Thank you so much, Roslyn, for your courage to actually come here. And I'm sure your stories, each and every one of you, will be able to inspire anybody who is watching us today. So to get the ball rolling, tell us a little bit about yourself and the role that you play in your organization.
Good morning. Thank you so much. My name is Pacifica, like she said, and I have been responding to gender-based violence for quite some time now, more than 15 years. And that was my entry point to Groots Kenya, because Groots Kenya, you must have an entry point of how you get into the movement. So that is how I got into Groots Kenya. And the role I play is that as Groots Kenya, we work as with a champion-led model, whereby we have champions who are recruited in the grassroots level, and they come into the movement and they have to champion for certain issues within our community. So we champion for gender-based violence issues, the concerns that are happening within our communities. So we champion and ensure that the gender-based violence survivors within our communities are the issues that are coming up are attended to. We are responding and putting in mechanisms that they will then get support. They will then get their issues attended to. The cases that they have, we as champions, we as responders, will ensure that we are collaborating with the various players, the duty bearers, to ensure that the cases that are coming up, within our communities are getting some justice. They're getting some solutions. So as an organization, we have recruited so many responders within our communities. So we work in a network so that when we hear of a case here, we work as a team to ensure that we are collaborating together, to ensure that these survivors that are coming up in whatever region will definitely get some justice through the justice system that we have through, within our communities.
Okay, thank you so much. And I like the model based what you're talking about. So you're using members of said communities. So it's not like you're coming out. So these are the people hao ndo wako kwa ground.
Yes.
Hao ndo wanajua vile vitu zinaendelea.
Absolutely.
So I really do appreciate that, because I think it's a very forward way of thinking, because who better to come and offer help than people who you already live with in the same community. So you mentioned something, Pacifica, about champions. Helen, you are a champion. Tell us what that role entails.
Thank you very much. A champion is a person who believes in a cause. And being a Growth Kenya champion, we have so many goals in Growth Kenya. And one of them is eliminating all forms of gender injustices against women and girls. So together, we work together as champions. I'm also a community health promoter. So it is the wearer who knows where the shoe pinches most. So sababu ni mimi nakaa ground. Na mimi ndiye champion, because I champion for the rights of the women and girls. Na huyu champion ni yule ambaye anaishi mashinani. You have an unpredictable source of income. Kwa hivyo si wale ambao wako juu, ni yule ambaye ako mashinani, anajua shida za yule mama, anajua shida za yule msichana, the root causes, the bases, ama ground venye iko, and we work together with others because we don't do it alone. We complement each other. Na tunafanya mpaka na other stakeholders. So huyo ndiye champion. I run and champion for the rights of these women and girls. Wapate haki. Kwa maana mama msichana amedhulumiwa. Na hana kitambo spaces used to shrink mahali pa kuongelelea haya mambo. But now at least they are broadening. We do it, we do sensitization in churches and the like. And that is how I found myself as a champion, a Growth Kenya champion. Yes,
wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I really applaud your effort. Later on in the course of the show, we'll find out kama mtu anataka kukua champion, mtu ameangalia na ile kazi unafanya, and they also feel a calling in their communities and say, you know what, I feel like I can be able to assist. What is the process that they will have to, undertake to become a champion? But we'll get to that. Okay. And then, Helen, thank you so. Rosalind. Rosalind, I think your story is the meat of the show, why we are here today. Because you are a gender-based violence survivor. And one of the things that has been very difficult in the fight against gender-based violence has been to get the survivors to come out and talk. There's a lot of shame that is associated with GBV, and so many people are suffering in silence. So for you to have the courage to actually come on national TV and talk about your story, we definitely, hats off to you. I think we need to give her a round of applause, Rosalind. We give flowers where flowers are due. Sure. So whoever is watching you and they're feeling like they've been battered into a corner, literally, can be able to be in a position to say, you know what? If Rosalind was able to get out, if Rosalind was able to do this, then you know what? Even I can be able to do this. But before I carry on, please share with us your story.
Thank you very much. It's just like any other home where you are with someone you trust, someone you love. And the violence starts small. It starts with an insult, starts with some sort of discrimination. And for me, it started when my contract ended at work. And one of the things my ex-husband used to tell me is that he admires what an independent woman that I am. And after the contract ended, he told me, you need a break. Just take a break. Unakosa nini? I kind of felt safe. Yeah. So I just stayed home. Then I remember one day I went to the Vincentian for prayers, and as I was leaving, I forgot my phones. I tried to call him to let him know that I had forgotten my phones when I got there, but he didn't pick. So on my way back home, at the butcher where we used to buy meat, I called him with that number so that he can send me money, or he can pay that I can buy supper and go home with it. And for sure, he was already home. And I used to have 2 phones, a Samsung and an iPhone. He took my 2 phones and bagged them on the wall. 2 days later, he bought me a phone. So even when I was angry, the anger ended. He bought me a phone, and it was lovey-dovey again. Then one evening, we had dinner, we just started and started talking. And then all of a sudden, he told me, unajua ile siku ulienda sijui kwenye ulienda unaniambianga ulienda maombi. And he beat me up to a point where I went to hospital. But I was afraid of what will people say? Like, I really hid it from everyone, even my parents, my friends. I remember I kept this, because the sweater I was wearing was white, was full of blood. I fainted, and I think neighbors helped him to carry me to hospital. But when we came from hospital, literally all he did was insult me. And then he left for 3 days. Then he came back, and then things went back to normal. And one thing I noticed about violence is that immediately violence happens, a lot of love follows. And for me, because I would really, really wanted this to work, I portrayed a happy front, a happy family. And then on the 6th of October last year, he left home. It was on a Sunday, and we were good, we were okay. He went to watch a match, Manu. He was a Manu fan. But I had noticed he would have small tantrums. I would cook food, for example. I love githeri. I would cook githeri, and he came home and said, hata huwezi kuwa creative, huwezi pika githeri na waru. Something as simple as that. And then he would go into bouts of silence. No, I was always walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
Always walking on eggshells. And I did something most women do.
Yeah.
When the love comes back and it appears like there is love, unaanza kuongea. So I told him, nowadays I always walk on eggshells. Every time I cook and I finish everything, I hide the knives. There's just something I kept feeling. Every time he would come home, and I would always stay at home the whole day, locked up. I'd always lock myself up. So I told him one night that I always hide the knives. So on that day, when he went to watch the match, I called him because he told me, tokens ikiisha, uniambie ninunue. Because the previous night there had been an issue with Kenya Power. Tulikuwa najaribu kununua tokens and we were not able to buy. So we bought tokens for 200. And we used to spend about 1,000 bob a week.
Yeah.
So when I called him to get the tokens, his phone kept disconnecting. So I thought maybe he was on another call.
Yeah.
So because we didn't have power, we didn't have Wi-Fi. So I bought bundles to tell him that I need tokens. So when I bought bundles, I called him, simu ikaingia. Akaniambia, okay, I don't know whether I can use that word, but he used a word and then he said, nisikukute kwa nyumba yangu. Then I had a message coming in for WhatsApp. I checked, and the message said, if I find you in my house, I'll kill you. Okay. So the previous day we had gone to visit his folks, and he had caused some sin at their place, but I hadn't told anyone. I used to hide him so much. So then he said, no, just texting on WhatsApp, just threats. And then one threat, he said, I've even told your parents. So I called my mother. When I called my mother, I started the story. Nilianza story mbali, nisikie ama kuna kitu anajua. Then I told her of the events of the previous day. My mother didn't seem to know anything. So I asked her, has he texted you? She told me, I'm outside, let me go into the house where there is Wi-Fi. I checked. So my mother checked, and there was no message. Then I asked her, can you check Dad's phone? And the message was right there. Tell your daughter to get out of my house. Today I will kill her.
Oh dear.
So at that point, I wasn't taking him seriously. So my mother tells me, get out. And I tell my mother, I'm not leaving. This guy is just drunk. Alafu leo Manu amepigwa.
So akona machungu.
Akona machungu.
This is not even about me. He'll come down. He'll sleep. In the morning, he'll be
my mom now
fine.
gets really, really worried and shaken. And she says, get out. And then I tell my mother, it's at night. Where am I going? My mother says, I am saying, get out, leave your things, it doesn't matter, just get out. But then at that moment, I thought quickly. I used to have a neighbor who used to say hi. But even where I used to live, I used to be afraid of saying hi to neighbors because he was always accusing me, I have a relationship with someone in that apartment. So I called my upstairs neighbor and I told her what had transpired. Then she told me, lock yourself inside. But then another neighbor was told. So at that point when we were just trying to see what is happening, I thought first and I locked myself in the house with a padlock. Then that neighbor wrote to some groups, I think they're security groups. We used to live somewhere along the Western Bypass. Wrote, I think it's around the Banana area, it's called the Banana region. So he wrote on the WhatsApp group that someone is being attacked and we need her to be rescued. But the quick thinking of me locking saved me. Because when he came and he started breaking the window panes and saying, tonight I'm going to kill you, then upstairs neighbor said, I saw her leaving. But the soldier was telling us he came carrying a knife. So remember the confessions I was doing when we were all in love and saying, I always hide the knife. So he knew he would, even, there was a day he asked, kwani unekaga visu wapi? I would always hide them in the oven. So he left. And cops came in later on at night and they told me there are too many cases of gender-based violence. We're not leaving you. You need to come and write a statement and just report. So that's what happened. Then I went back. But then at around 4 a.m. he was back. And I think we suspect it's the watchman who told him I'm inside. So this time around I was just silent kabisa. Sikuongea, sikusema anything. But then by morning, the champion who was to rescue me called me, and from there on, I was surrounded by people who really cared. And at that point, I think I still wasn't ready to leave because I kept thinking, I'm in a dream, but my champion rescued me, and the journey now started from there.
And the journey started.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, first of all, we're just happy that you're here. Because it's very easy for people to take such matters lightly, especially if someone has maybe never even shown an ounce. You know, and this is the person you live with, you're the person you know them best, so you're like, I see, you know. And so many of the cases, you know, you can bear me witness, so many of the cases, the person and the victims and the survivors didn't even know. They never thought that this could go that far. So I am so appreciative of your neighbors. I'm so appreciative of your community. I'm so happy that conversations around gender-based violence are on the rise so that such matters, even including with the police, are not taking it lightly. Because unakumbuka there was a time ilikuwa inasemekana hiyo ni kesi ya watu wawili. You remember there was a lady, I don't know if it was on Kawaskari or somewhere, who called out and called out and called out for help, and the neighbors all went mum. And unfortunately, she's no longer with us. So I'm really, really happy that people are taking the initiative. So kudos to you at home and your neighborhood for doing that. And sasa kazi ianze. You know, now the work begins. But now, Pacifica, over to you. You know, what capacity does your organization work with survivors? For instance, someone like Rosalind. So here she's mentioned a champion came. So take us through the process.
Right. I really appreciate what Rosalind has taken us through because that is what it entails for the champions to really respond to the needs that are coming up of gender-based violence. So the process is that in our communities, when we realized that gender-based violence was rising every other day, we identified the women that were passionate about gender-based violence response and rescue. Because for you to respond to gender-based violence, it must be a call, something that you're passionate about. So when we identified these women within our communities, we then took them through a session of professional response. Because, you know, for you to respond, you must really understand what does it entail, what is the process, where do I need to start from? So we took them through a training for them to understand what is a protocol, so that somebody does not rush to the hospital and maybe they need to first of all go and take an OB.
Exactly.
So we took them through a training, and this training incorporated the police, It incorporated the health department, it incorporated the chiefs, let's say the whole cycle of the duty bearers that we work hand in hand with through the justice system of gender-based violence. So we took the responders through the training so that they would understand how they would respond. So basically what happens when they get cases, they have to assess the case.
Yes.
Because the cases differ from one case to the other.
Absolutely.
There is a case that you really need to rush to the hospital. This person is bleeding. You will not take a bleeding person to the police. Absolutely. This bleeding has to be capped before you now go and register at the police station. So you have to assess the situation. Some of the cases may be, it is a risky situation that you really need a police, you cannot go on your own. You are being called by your community. Yeah, we have had cases where the perpetrators are having pangas. The perpetrators are running for somebody's blood. You cannot go there because you're a gender-based violence responder. You cannot go there on your own. The other thing, we have a network of all the duty bearers. We have a network of police, because anytime you're called, you need to have online an officer that will respond very fast within your community. So we work with a network of all these police officers, and anytime the police officers are moving from one destination, because the public servants move from one destination to the other.
Yes.
When the others are coming in, the first thing we do is get to the officers, get to know them, so that you're not calling them to introduce yourself when you already have a case. So we create a rapport so that anytime you I need to call an officer, they already know you. They already know that Pacifica does gender-based violence response. Like at the moment, if I want to call any number in Kiambu, I don't need to introduce myself.
Yes.
They know that I'm a gender-based violence responder, so they will respond very fast. And anytime I call at night, they definitely know that
They know this is an emergency.
Absolutely.
This is definitely an emergency.
And we have created that network up to the police, Inspector General of Police. The other day I called the Inspector General of Police because we had a case that really needed his attention. So what are we saying? We have created a network with all the players, because that is now what helps us to work in collaboration. Because you cannot do gender-based violence on your own.
On your own, absolutely.
It is something that needs a lot of collaboration, and we have been able to do that. Some of these cases need to be taken to the hospitals. We work in collaboration with the health department, so that when we go there, they are able to give us immediate help. They know we are gender-based violence responders, and they don't keep you there. Because in normal circumstances, you'll be told you have to line up, you know, and you have somebody who is
They know the urgency of the matter.
They know the urgency.
Exactly.
So we work in that collaboration, which has really helped us. And of course, again, with the judiciary system, when we take our cases there, they know it is not a case that it does not hold water. So, and recently, we even have had a case of rape, and somebody was sentenced 50 years in jail because of raping a girl in Larry. So what we are saying, that collaboration has really helped us, and we have a tool. We collect data. This data really helps us to carry forward the gender-based violence issues, so that when we are talking, we are not talking from out of blues. We are talking from an informed point, because we use this data even to advocate to government for the issues that would really want government to come in and give us, as the community, as a CSO, to give us the support that is required within our communities. Yes.
Thank you so much. I mean, I really like your approach, because you really have all the areas covered. And I think one of the biggest things that happen when it comes to gender-based violence is the survivors and the victims don't know where to turn. How do you ensure, this is for you, Helen, how do you offer, survivor-centered approach when you're supporting a GBV victim?
Thank you for the question. Survivor-centered approach is whereby we have the data, we know the nitty-gritties, and also we give the survivor consent. We tell her, this is what we are going to do. Your data is safe with us. We ensure safety. So when I'm called, because we are a call away, a phone call away.
Yes.
Because we do it together, it is a collective effort from the community.
Yes.
So we have those champions from the same locality. So we'll go and tell them, go and verify. They've mapped, they've verified, they've they've seen that there's emergency or there's need to address the situation as fast as possible, then they'll take the survivor along the referral pathway. If she needs to report, because the first thing that you need, because if it is not documented, it has not happened. So the first step along the referral pathway, you will ensure that you take the survivor, you will inform her that you need to go and report. You have an OB. That is the first case, because you have to report. If it is an issue of going to the hospital, then you take her along. So in all that, we ensure that she's very much safe. And if we see, as Pacifica said, that there is need to take her to the shelter, you'll tell her now, because there is no other safe place that you need to go, they'll be taken there. And remember, we are working with data. Because this data, it goes into a centralized place in the database of Groots Kenya, and it is safe there. I'm not able to access it now. Once it goes in the database of Groots Kenya, I'm not able to get it back. So it is very safe there. So we take her along. She's very safe. We give her consent. Hatumlazimishi afanye mambo. Unamuuliza kuna mahali ambapo unaweza kimbilia. Anakwambia hapana, sina mamangu yuko mbali, pengine an orphan, pengine naishi mbali, pengine Mombasa. So the sure bet is now unamwambia kwamba kuna mahali pa kukimbilia usalama. Anakwambia nataka kwenda mahali hapo.
So you ensure, first of all, you've ensured that her safety and security is paramount to her. And you've mentioned, so you've talked about the, confidentiality is very, very key. So that's very encouraging, because, some of the time, some of the cases are reported, you find that the information has been leaked. You find that there are certain people who are not looking at the security because your opinion of the case may be, oh, this is not too dire, oh, this is not too bad. So her safety and security is priority. Thank you so much. I really like that survivor-centered approach. Now, over to you, Rosalind. For instance, if someone is watching you right now and they're in a situation where they are experiencing a lot of abuse, be it from marriage, be it whichever, but there's gender-based violence that is prevalent in their home, and they're reluctant to come, how would you get somebody like that to perhaps reach out for the services of an organization such as Pacifica's?
Thank you very much. Number one, there is no abuse too little. And first of all, abuse just messes your mind. If you saw me last year, October, when I met my champion today, she told me it's a whole 180 transformation.
It's a different person.
Different person altogether. So there's no abuse that's too small. So the one thing I would encourage everyone is to speak up. Speak up. Just speak up. Don't hide. Stop hiding the perpetrator. Number two, stop being scared of what people will say. I came up with this saying, watu hawezi ongea story yako 1 hour continuously. For 3 days, I couldn't get out of my room. I couldn't eat. All I did was cry. But the day I spoke out, I listened to stories from women. And I thought, oh my God, what is happening to our women? So women just need to speak up. Because you never know who will hear your story and help you. Don't die in silence.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. And one abuse is one too much.
One abuse is one too many. And the statistics, unfortunately, as we speak right now in this particular month in April of 2025 are still rising. This is after protests have been done. This is after movements have been done. The numbers are still rising. So please, one death is far too many for the femicide cases. Please speak up. And I like the camaraderie of meetings such as what we have here in Dadas, because you get to meet someone like Rosalind. I would have never thought, walking by in Nairobi CBD, would have bumped into each other. I would have never thought that that's what you've gone through. So I'm really, really appealing to anybody who's at home. If you are a GBV victim at this particular point, remember you will not always be a victim. You'll be a survivor. Before we go on break, I want to ask you, Helen, what are some of the issues that you experience, especially you're dealing with grassroots? These are communities perhaps where culture is very, very heavily ridden. How do you deal with some of these cultural, biases? How do you deal with communities perhaps where gender inequality is so prevalent? The women are to be seen and not heard. How do you deal with that? And these are some of the places where GBV is very, very prevalent. How do you deal with that?
For one, like now, we are going back to retrogressive culture of FGM.
Yes.
We have the Watandai. Because Kitambo, it used to be a prerequisite for marriage,
yes,
for a girl to undergo a cut. So we have to involve the Kikuyu elders, the Kiama, for them to address. We see another challenge is we've got kangaroo courts, because it is a family thing. A girl was defiled by the sibling, a girl was defiled by maybe the uncle or maybe somebody else. So now when you try to intervene, they kind of
they want to sweep it under the rug.
Yes. And now what we do, we sensitize the community. As I said earlier, we continue spreading this gospel in the churches, in the communities. Kama mimi tumekutana kwa church ama baraza za chief, una address hiyo mambo. Because it is a criminal offense. Mambo ya SGBV kufanyiwa kangaroo. Tena unapata kuna mwingine ambaye anaona kana kwamba ni vibaya kusema mambo yake. Pengine mimi ni mama wa kanisa. Maybe I'm the pastor's wife. Sasa unataka kuinyamazia. So we tell them, no, it is time to break the culture of silence. Yes, because wengine hawataki kusema, wengine hawataki kuinuka kusema. So you just sensitize them and tell them that you need to do this.
On that note, we are going to take a short break and then we'll be back for the question and answer session. Don't go far away. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you have missed an amazing fast session, but fear not, all Dada's show episodes can easily be found on YouTube under the KBC page. So remember to like, remember to subscribe, remember to follow us, and remember to comment. Leave us a comment. Tell us if you like what we're doing, if there are areas that you would want us to focus on, amongst other things. We always look forward to hearing from you. Remember, you can also talk to us on our social media pages, at KBC Channel 1. You can also reach us on Facebook at Dadas KBC, and you can reach me personally at Ashiko the host across all social media platforms. So now we are over to my favorite part of the show, which is a question and answer session, which gives my wonderful audience an opportunity to interact with our panel, ask questions, give feedback, give words of encouragement, and all of those good things. So to start us off on this question and answer session, I have Madam Teresia. Teresia, karibu sana.
Thank you so much. My name is Teresia. My question is, what are the biggest barriers that the GBV survivors faces when they are trying to access safe shelters in Kenya today?
We have about 61 safe houses all over the country. And I would say the biggest barrier is that most of our gender-based violence survivors do not know where these safe houses are. So the biggest barrier is the communication that needs to be accessed by all our communities on where these safe houses are. And that when you have experienced gender-based violence, you need to come up and be informed of where the shelters are. We need to have points where people can report and access the shelters. So they are not informed of where the shelters are until organizations like the organization I work with, Growth Kenya, came up and they communicated to the communities that we have a safe house. So the safe houses are there, but the communication does not reach to the communities. So that becomes a big barrier. They're not able to access them because they don't know where they are. So we need to communicate to all our communities all over so that the women can know, the survivors can know that when I go through gender-based violence, I can easily access a safe house where I can rush for safety.
Or they can be able to access someone who can direct them, because
Absolutely.
it's a safe house, so its location should also be very, secret, But I like that, and I think that's the approach that you guys have, the one for involving as many stakeholders as possible. So if you are involving the police, you're involving the hospitals, whenever somebody has been brought in and is a victim of GBV, then you know how to direct them. So again, we go back to how we started the show by saying this is an all hands on deck kind of approach to end GBV. Otherwise, one person or one group by themselves, they cannot be able to do it. Thank you so much. I hope your question was answered, Teresia. Our next question is from Sarah.
My name is Sarah Wamboi Kiminda. I direct my question to Helen. I have two questions. The first one, where does Groots Kenya operate on? Maybe I'm in Kakamega. How do I get help as a survivor? Second question, apart from shelter services, rescue services, what else do you help? What other help needs do you give to our community?
Groots Kenya has spread its wing in so many counties. And right now we are working in over 24 counties and still spreading our wings. It is spreading like a bushfire in the Hamatan. And we have a very strong network. So we are not limited. Like recently, I was called maybe like a week ago. We were called from Kabete, and we were told there is a case from Busia. And we also, we connected with the champions from Busia, and the person was helped. So we are not limited. We are in over 24 counties, and still we have networks in other counties, so we are not limited. So the other question was, you asked about apart from
services, except from the shelters.
Okay, apart from shelter, we have the wraparound services that we have. Once we identify or you map the survivor, we take them along the referral pathway. Sasa ni mtu wa kwenda shelter. Akienda shelter, we take care of her mental well-being.
First and foremost.
First and foremost. That is very paramount. So we have psychosocial support. We have pro bono counselors who are on board and who have been brought up by Groots Kenya. They offer the services of counseling. We also take them because in the shelter, they won't stay for long.
Yes.
Ni mahali tu pa kwenda kutulia tu maybe for 2 or 3 weeks. Halafu, there's need to have an exit plan. They are given, kulingana na venye tumeangalia, in-kind grant. Pesa kidogo, amefurushwa kwa nyumba yake. Ametoka tu, ni mama pengine alikuwa na biashara yake, alikuwa ameweka kibanda mahali. Anapewa kiasi kidogo tu ya kumsimamisha, kumfanya ajipanguze vumbi, aweze kusimama tena. Aweze whatever iweze ile whatever her dignity, iweze kusimama. Tena still kama angetaka kuendelea na biashara, kuna pesa kiasi kidogo anaweza patiwa akafanya biashara. Bado still we have skilling. Because maybe this is a girl maybe who's between 16 to 35, hajamaliza shule ama pengine amemaliza shule na anahitaji kwenda kufanya skills. Anataka kwenda kufanya skilling kama ya maybe plumbing. Ambao sisi it is male dominated. Lakini kuna mwingine ambaye anataka kwenda plumbing, anapelekwa kwa mastercrafts ama pengine anapelekwa kwa TVET, anagharamiwa na anasimamiwa mpaka anaimaliza. Kwa hivyo anasimama, anakuwa mtu ambaye ako na independence ya financial independence, na still tunakuwa na anakuwa na uwezo wa kusimama vizuri katika hali ya kifedha. Kwa sababu one of those things that ambayo inaleta GBV ni kuwa mama ako economically ako chini. Exactly. Kwa hivyo sasa akipewa kiasi kidogo cha fedha, anaweza kusimama vizuri, na ukimuinua mama, ukimsaidia tu mama mmoja, umesaidia dunia nzima. Yes.
So thank you so much. I hope your question was answered, Sarah. Our next question is from Alice. Alice, karibu sana.
I'm Alice, grateful to be here. My question goes to Rizrin. I would like to know her experience before and after being in the shelter.
Thank you so much for that question. Before the shelter, I lived in fear. I lived in shame. I was always hiding. The day I went to the shelter was one of the hardest days. First of all, I got the shelter at night. When I got there, I didn't even know what to expect. So I got what I got. Like when I landed, the whole setup, I was just trying to assimilate everything. And because I got in at night, everyone was trying to offer me something to eat. I found very friendly ladies in there. And then there were very many kids. That shows that women are being bartered and they have small kids. So the house had women and kids. So they tried to offer me a meal and some tea, but I was too shaken to eat. Then I went to bed. And like I had said earlier, the next 3 days, all I did was cry. I had headaches. The shelter manager had even to take me to hospital because my migraines couldn't stop. It was just a harrowing experience. But on the 4th day, the shelter manager visited and she spoke to me and we spoke. And that is the time now I was even able to start talking to the other survivors. And interestingly, now I became kind of like their bestie. I even came to understand, because I used to cry so much, one of them told me she used to think I would die. So at night she'd come and check on me. Oh, no. She used to think I would die because I wasn't eating and all I did was crying. But the shelter manager, the people who are there as the survivors were just friendly. And day by day, we could speak of our experiences. And sometimes when you think you're in a hole, you realize there are people who are in deeper
Who are the hole itself?
Who are literally in the hole themselves.
According to you, Pacifica, what can we attribute to that? Because we have marched, we have cried, we have done this. What can be attributed to the rising cases of femicide?
We need dialogue. People are not coming together to talk. And I think that is the reason that people are thinking that the last resolution is just to kill somebody. Because most of the time you realize it is something, when you get to realize that somebody has been killed and people are talking about it, you realize it is something that we would really have just conversed over it and come out with a solution. Yeah? Because somebody says that my wife is not supposed to go to work. Why is she going to work? I found my wife talking to a man along the way. Who says that I'm not supposed to talk to a man? You don't know the conversation I was having with this man. I may be having a conversation that is business oriented, a conversation that will just empower our household, but you just get suspicious and decide to batter your wife without wanting to give a listening ear, just to understand what was the conversation about. So we really need to not get so much emotional, because it is emotions beyond understanding, wanting to understand what was it that transpired.
So I think conversation, we also need to look at our mental health as Kenyans. What are we dealing with? Are we facing our mental issues? Are we taking the proper paths to getting help? Or are we just bleeding all over everyone? Are we bleeding all over the place? So thank you so much, Pacifica, for that. Our next question is from Vivian. Vivian, karibu sana.
First of all, is to thank you for the great work that you're doing in your communities. My question is to Helen. I'd love to know what really keeps you moving. What keeps us moving is we are driven by passion. Hawezi kufanya hili jambo bila the passion that drives you. It propels us, the passion. Because for one, we are the salt of the world. And salt is a preservative. And we are there, we are driven by the passion to preserve this life, to preserve the life of this girl, to preserve the life of this vulnerable woman, the PWD. So that is the driving force. And because we don't do it alone, we work as a team. One of our values in Growth Kenya is teamwork. Because nikiinua mikono yangu juu hivi, sitalegea. I need the support of the other person. So because we work together as a team, and together everyone achieves much. The passion, the teamwork, and we are all working towards a certain goal. We want to have a sigh of relief. Finally, she has found justice. Finally, it is well. So that is what propels us. That is the driving force.
And so we know what propels you.
Yes.
How do you stay sane? Because I can only imagine, I'm a very emotional person. I can imagine going to 3 different locations and 3 different days. I look at, the GBV champions and all of that, and my hearts are off to you. You're very, very selfless. How do you maintain your sanity? Because I'd lose it every single day. Is there have there been things that have been put in place to offer you some psychosocial support?
Oh yes, because these cases are way too many. Unapata mama mwingine amepigwa, mwingine she has been raped, a girl has been defiled, and you cry. Lakini ukilia, sasa nani atamsaidia yule? Sababu tunafanya kazi pamoja sisi kama team. Our mental well-being is very paramount. So what Groots Kenya does, we have some debriefing sessions once in a while. Tunapelekwa mahali wale ambao, tunaenda mnacheza, mnafanya sijui zinaitwa karongolongo hizo vitu. Then you have sessions with the counselors, you go through psychosocial support. Unawambia nimefanya. So that baggage sasa you relieved.
Offload,
So now umepata nguvu mpya ya kuendelea.
To go and face more cases.
Oh yes.
Oh, wow. We really, really definitely appreciate you for all the work that you do, to be honest. Sometimes you look at people's passion and vocation and you think, truly we have angels among us, don't we? So I want to give my wonderful panel an opportunity to give us a parting shot. After all is said and done, after we've discussed everything in regards to gender-based violence survivor support, give us a parting shot for our viewers at home.
We engage in so many activities, and gender-based violence is one of them. Get to us. We are there to support you. Speak to us. We will ensure you get justice. We are fighters for the justice of our women and girls in this community. Thank you.
We need, as members of the community, a collective effort. The spaces that you are given in the community for public participation. I, being a budget champion, I, being a Groots Kenya champion, we need to go, we are the advocates. Na tumepewa this space, this platform kupitia kulingana na katiba ya 2010. An opportunity for us to incorporate the needs, the issues of the people kwa mashinani. And as I said, it is the wearer who knows where the shoe pinches most. Ni sisi tunajua dhuluma ambayo watoto wetu wanapitia. And we need to have safe spaces all over that are government funded.
To the victims, it's okay to live. It is okay to live when you're alive. I would rather you're alive and now looking for the way forward than staying there because you're comfortable and then you're dead. One more woman, one more girl dead is a disservice to this society. Live, speak up. It is never that serious. To the survivors, it always looks hard to start over. But once you take that first step and you keep going, just don't look at what will happen 1 month from now, to even 2 days, just think of now, just now. If I'm able to breathe, because for me, I think that's what helped me in the shelter. Every time I would wake up, I would say, all I want to do is breathe. I didn't want anything else. Just breathe, breathe. Things get easier. And when you're already out, don't start thinking of what you left behind or start feeling guilty. The universe abhors vacuums. It will always fill up with something good. If you just keep positive thoughts, positive minds, and associate yourself now with people who are going to help you walk the journey forward, not backwards. If you have relatives of your excommunicate them. Because they'll come tell you whether he's thriving. If he's thriving, you'll feel like you want to go back. If he's not thriving, you'll start
feeling sorry.
You'll start feeling like you're accomplished, and then the self-importantness will get into your head, and then it will be self-destruction. So just charter a new path and move forward. It's never that serious.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Rosaline, for that. So we have come to the end of this very engaging conversation. And it's a conversation that we hope is being had in very, very many forums, where we are talking about putting an end to to gender-based violence. I mean, the statistics are alarming. The rates of femicide are increasing. It is really worrisome for parents, for sisters, for mothers, for aunties, for teachers. Being in Kenya right now, because you're wondering, is my student going to come home? Is my daughter going to come home? So let's carry on having the conversation around gender-based violence. And of course, as always, let's keep the conversation going on our social media pages at KBC Channel 1. You can also reach us on Facebook at Dadas Show KBC. You can reach me personally at Ashiko the host across all social media platforms. So on behalf of the production team at KBC, our wonderful location partner Manzoni 680 Hotel, and myself Ashiko Mbune, I wish you all a lovely week. I will catch you same time, same day next Sunday as we discuss something else that is touching the lives of Kenyan women. For now, have yourself a lovely, blessed week. Bye for now.